Hi, Elise. I'm just getting this set up and getting the link into the program. Okay. Okay, let's see if this is working. Hopefully. Okay, seems to be working. Hopefully. Are you there, Elise? All right, so if anyone's watching, we're just getting set up. Elise is coming in and we will be here to chat. If you've got questions, you can go ahead and pop them into the chat group for us, and we will be ready to chat in a minute. I'm just going to see if I can connect with Elise here. Hopefully. It's always all these technical things to sort out when we first get started. Okay, link to live chat doesn't seem to be working. Let me see if it works for me. Oh, okay. It is okay. The live chat is working, but you have to be signed into YouTube to be able to chat. Hey, Elise.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
That's good.
Sandra, can you hear us all right, or is it this link to the live chat? Okay, I'm not sure what she means. Try the link above. Have I put it in the right one? Ooh, let me see. Welcome chat. Yep, should be. So I'll just open that. Try the link above.
Is that in Telegram? Are people having issues finding?
I don't know.
I will have a look.
I think we're good because somebody said they could see it. Dee and Janine are there. Hi. Yay. So hopefully everybody can see. Okay, cool. It's working. Awesome. So now I've just got to try and do 3 tabs here so I can see all the comments. Yeah, you can. It's fine. Awesome. Well, here we go. We're here. It's day 1. Who's excited? Joy's excited. She's here too.
Excited as well. Hi, Joy.
Yeah. So we've just finished our cooking class for the week. and
Oh,
Joy's cleaning up. We've got this big pot of we've got a chicken pilaf and we've got a satay in there. Ooh, should come for lunch, Elise.
lovely. Lovely. What else did you make? Is that what you made in your cooking class?
Yeah, so we made the pilaf in the cooking class, and Joy's made the chicken satay as well, and down the recipe so I can share it.
Yum.
Vermicelli.
Come
Yeah.
to my house. Come and chat at my house.
Everybody wants Joy at her house.
I know, that's right. It would be so. Well, it is so exciting to get started. I know for both of us, Joe, we absolutely love running the gut health formula. A whole new group of people to get to know. And it's just
Some
always,
past members.
and some past members as well. We always have past members, which is like, obviously, we're doing a good job. People might be thinking, well, if they've already done it, why do they need to come back? But as you'll see, it's like you can keep going a layer deeper each time. The way we run the gut health formula, we kind of say that it's a choose your own adventure, in that while you're here doing this with us, it's about taking the steps that feel right for you. So that's the biggest thing. We'll say it over and over again, is that if at any point it's feeling overwhelming, then you're trying to do too much and you need to take a step back.
Yeah.
So something that can often happen when you first start a new program is today you'll be feeling really excited and you'll be feeling really motivated and you'll want to go look at all the material, and you'll think, okay, what is all these things I'm going to change? I'm going to just jump right into it. This is it. This is the change. This is, this is going to be the one. And that motivation doesn't last. So the initial motivation is not a sustainable level of motivation because we have other things going on in our life. Like we can't just set it aside to just focus on this. And that's not what is expected. We don't create this program that you have 8 weeks that you just set everything else aside and focus on this. So it's about looking at this and saying, how does it work for me in terms of how I want to approach it? And throughout this first week, a lot of you will be chomping at the bit because you'll be like, where's the meal plan? We'll be like, there is none.
Where's the food list?
Where's the food list? What can I eat? What can't I eat? That's not where we start.
No.
So we do start with figuring out where you're at right now so you can work out what actually is the best approach for you and your family.
Yeah. And wherever you are, then we start from there and start adding in from there. So instead of saying, take all these bad habits out of your life, take all these bad foods out of your life, empty your fridge, freezer, and pantry, and start with this list and this meal plan, we say, whatever you're doing now, don't stress. Let's just start adding little by little healing foods. And we find that as time goes by, you start to naturally lose some of those foods that are not great because you don't need them anymore. Your body's not craving, the junk food anymore. Your body's being nourished with the healing foods. And so that's what you start to crave. And it will just gradually change in a much more natural way if you do it this way. And it's not as stressful.
Yeah. And you've really got to, like, everyone in this group, life will be looking different. Like some of you will have small children. And some of you could have a number of small children. And so life looks very different to some of you will have children that have grown up or that are teenagers, or, starting to take care of themselves, hopefully, but still needing their mum usually.
Or grandchildren.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So some of you may be single and not have any children. Some of you, your children may have all moved out of home. So you may be cooking one for one, you may be cooking for two, you may be working full time, you may not be. There is, like, we could not possibly prescribe something that would suit all of you. That's just, it's not fair on any of you, because the people that say aren't working full time, and maybe don't have a lot of kids or something, and they have more time, they will be able to do more within this program week to week. The people that are working or just full-time looking after children or whatever it is that's going on in your life, it could be someone with chronic fatigue and that doing all those things, it's just not possible. So then what you will do week to week will look different to what someone will do who has more time to put to it. So you've really got to honor where you are actually at and then say, okay, what's considering where I'm at right now, current life stage, responsibilities, time factors, what would be the best approach for me? So some people may approach the gut health formula in a way where they're like, right, I know I'm really time poor, but I'm here because something needs to change. And I just want to figure out what I can do that is going to have an impact. So that may mean that if you are really time poor and a lot of content feels overwhelming, you may just commit to the live Q&A every week. If all you did was come to the live Q&A every week, and then just from that, say maybe download an ebook with some recipes or whatever you need for the step you're going to take, and you didn't watch all of the content and you're able to just implement from that, you would get your money's worth, because from where you are currently at, it would mean you can move forward. So that may be where some people are at, that trying to follow along in the Telegram group where lots of conversation might feel a bit overwhelming. So just actually going, right, I will go to the live Q&A every week. That's what the big topic is about. From that, I can ask some questions, jump in the practitioner question section, ask, some questions about where I'm at right now, and just find your pathway forward that's actually going to work for you, and not think about trying to do everything. Because if you are trying to do everything and that's actually overwhelming, and you are time poor and you've got everything else going on in life, you'll end up avoiding the program altogether, because you'll think, if I even log on, I've got so much that I'm behind on, that I haven't watched yet. And then to the thought of even looking at it to try and catch up on everything, it just feels too overwhelming that you'll just avoid it altogether. We don't want that for any of you. So having this awareness in your mind right from the very beginning means you can say, I'm going to be realistic, that I can't put hours to this every week. And so I'm just going to commit there. And you've got 12 months access. So just doing the lives every week and then accessing whatever bit of information is going to help you with that step you want to take. In 8 weeks' time, if you made 8 really good steps, that would make a big difference. So it doesn't have to be an overhaul. That would make a big difference. You would have momentum and progress, which you can then continue over the 12 months. For some of you, you may find that there's multiple steps you have time for through the week to take, that accessing the Telegram group, communicating in there is really helpful, that you are able to watch quite a bit of the material, come to the live Q&As, and that's a sustainable place for you. There'll be some of you where you're able to watch everything, involve yourself with everything, be in the chat, active in the chat group, be, asking practitioner questions, coming to all the lives. You may find that it's sustainable in your life to just do all of that over that time. You've got the time, which is great. But it's not like the person that can just come to the lives and they're not getting less out of it. The way you get the most out of it is by approaching it in the way that is right for you, so you can get momentum forward in your life. Overwhelm, stress, pressure, it's guilt, blame, shame. It is just not the way forward.
Yep. If any of you are thinking, well, I can't make the lives because I'm usually working, just remember you can always watch the replays. So we send out an email before a live, like the day before, reminding you that there's a live on, and then you can answer that email, or you can go into the live page and comment in the comment box and put your questions in there for us to answer during the live, and then come back and watch it later and we've answered your questions. Or if you didn't get your questions in time, it doesn't matter. While you're watching, you can type things in the comment box and say, but what about this? Or you can type it in the Telegram chat group. And we will answer all those questions. So they won't be missed. Even if you can't get to the live, your questions won't be missed. If you have those tricky, curly questions that a practitioner really needs to answer, the practitioner section is great for that. We've got practitioners that come in each day of the work week. to answer those, Elise's team and Elise. And that way you've sort of got a bit of a thread going that's your chat with the practitioners, where you can say, okay, well, I've tried what you said here. This is what happened. Now what? And they'll answer you sort of one-on-one. If you do find that there's something really personal that you don't want to put where anyone else can see it, there is, you can email us and we can answer you that way. But most things you can put into the Telegram chat or in the practitioner section or in the comments under a video. If you've opened up your Kajabi app on the computer or on the phone, just know that we do have it. There is a Kajabi app as well that you can download from the App Store or the Google Play Store, so that you've got it with you on your handheld device. If you're out and about, you'll get notifications through that when we send out a new module, or when the live video is going to happen, you'll get a notification. So that's also handy. If you're feeling at any time overwhelmed, turn off your notifications. If you don't know how to do that, let us know. We can help you with that on Telegram or on the app. Turn off your notifications, watch the live video if you can, like Elise said, and just go into the chat group if you've got a specific question. You can use the little search icon in the chat group, so it looks like a little magnifying glass. If you think, well, has anyone talked about candida in here? Has anyone talked about histamines? Has anyone talked about meat stocks? Type it into the search, see if there's any discussion. If not, go ahead and ask, or you can reply to someone's comment in the chat group so that you keep that question and answer thread going in the chat group. And we can help you if you don't know how to do any of that. But the chat group is really helpful. Just don't get overwhelmed with all the chatting. If you feel like it's too much, turn off the notifications and just come in when you need to.
Yeah, and that's like we have the chat. Did we still do the
channel and the chat group? Yeah.
Did you just say that then already?
No. So if you don't want to be in the chat group, if you're not really a chat group kind of gal or boy, you can just go into the channel and you'll just get sent all the announcements, but you won't have a chat in there.
And sometimes, like, it's good if you just want to be, you can be in both.
Yeah.
So that you can just keep track of the announcements. It'll tell you when there's a live coming up, when the modules are open, anything we need to tell you. So it's not much that comes through in there, but you won't feel like you're missing anything. And then you can just look at the chat group when you feel like it. But don't ever, sometimes you'll open the chat group and it'll say like 300 comments that you've missed. Don't even worry about it. Like, just
go back and try and read them all.
Yeah, there's a little arrow on the right at the bottom and you just press it and it'll just take you all the way to the bottom. And then you can ask a question or say something if you want to. You do not have to read through everything.
No, we get into chats about all sorts of stuff, and a lot of it may not apply to you. So
yeah. So, and that's like a part of this as well, is that we will talk about a lot of different things, and you don't have to retain it all right now. Like, just remembering that you do have 12 months access. Really, if your focus can be, what is my pathway forward? What's the next step for me? That keeps you really grounded, because it's really easy to have information overload. And we've got over 150 people in the group. It'll probably get up to 200 by the end of today, hopefully. So if you think 200 people in here, then everyone's got different stuff. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things when we're answering questions. So especially in the live Q&As that we're doing each week, the live chats, like, there'll be lots of different things covered, and there's lots of different things covered throughout. Not everything is your next step. So it's okay just to not try and retain everything or write everything down. Even if you feel it's relevant to you, but it's just not something you're going to do right now, just focus on the thing that you're doing now. That it really is how you get the most out of it. So you can feel like, well, I've got to get all this information in so I get the most out of it. That's not how you get the most out of it. That's how you get overwhelmed.
Janine wants to know if there's a way to see if we've responded to their question. Yes. So when we reply to you, or if anyone replies to your comment, so if you right click, say you're in Telegram and you right click on someone's comment, you can click reply, and then that will send an at your name to you, so you know that someone's replied. When you open the app, the Telegram app, at the bottom where there's the little love heart, it'll have a little at sign if someone's replied to you. And then you click on the at sign, it will go to that comment and you'll see the reply. I might do a little video for everyone and just.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. I was just going to see if in one of my Telegram groups.
Yeah, I probably do have something somewhere.
At signs. So here's in a different group of mine, but see at the bottom there.
There we go.
So there's 4 at signs. So if I press on at, it'll take me to the first one where someone has left a comment. I should just cover up names and stuff because this is a different group. And then once I read that one, if I click on the at again, it will take me to the next one. Then I can reply to that one, then click on the at again, it'll take me to the next one, and see that arrow at the very bottom there on the right. Oops, I pressed something, but that arrow just there, that's the magic button that just takes you to the very bottom, and then you can just skip past everything. So that does make it really easy. And Joe was saying that right clicking on a comment on your phone, you just hold your finger down on it. So say there's one there, I just hold my finger down and then I can hit reply here to reply to it. So that's how you do it in Telegram. In Kajabi, you'll get a notification when the practitioner has replied. If you've turned your notifications off, you can also select, like when you're going and adjusting your notifications in Kajabi, it's very simple where it's got your little photo at the top, or if you don't have your photo in there, it'll just have a little profile shape. You just click on that, manage account, and one of the topics is notifications. Yep. So you can actually select for it to send you no notifications or only when you're replied to or something. So you can actually choose to have it tell you that you're replied to, but not tell you everything that goes on, like everyone leaving a comment and all that kind of thing. So in Kajabi, you can get the notification that the practitioner has replied to you. Otherwise, just going back in and checking. But we are in there Monday to Friday. So every day things are getting answered. If it's a bit more complex, then it might not get answered that day because the practitioner will read it and then we'll discuss it before we respond. So if it doesn't get answered that day, that will be why. Yeah.
Sometimes on the weekends, Elise and I are a little bit slower in the Telegram group, but we will get back to you. And if we've missed something somehow, you can at Elise or at Joe, and we will see that. And that way we'll know that there's something there for us. But yeah, I'll do a little video too and put it somewhere, because I think, for people that are new to the chat group, using the Telegram chat group, it's good to have a video to show you all the tricks.
Yeah, and then once you do know how to use it, it's quite user friendly in like
it's similar to WhatsApp, and most people use that.
Yeah.
Has anyone got any questions for us? I did see, I believe I saw one in the. Okay, here we go. Alison wants to know if this is good, if this is okay for vegetarians. Can they do GAPS? Would veggie broth be of benefit without all the collagen from the meat? I'm a meat eater, but hubby is not. I'll let you answer that, Elise.
Yeah, so basically GAPS is not vegetarian and there's not a vegetarian way to do it. So if we're talking about GAPS, then no. So GAPS does include all of the animal foods. But then in terms of what like you can then implement for your husband, it would just really, like everything we do within the gut health formula, it's not all food focused. There's many other things going on in here as well. And then there's many food focused things that aren't meat. So like the fermented foods and that kind of things. But basically the gut health, like the approach we're talking about in the gut health formula is one that does include animal foods.
Yeah. Two more questions. Can you speak at some point about blending soups or smoothies for kids? Does it break down enzymes, making them not as beneficial, or is this a myth? No, that doesn't. No, it's still good. Maybe you're thinking of juices, blending juices. That's different.
Yeah.
I'm going to sneeze.
So Joe was just going to say that, say blending, like making a juice in a Thermomix compared to cold pressed, that it actually just destroys the cell wall. So if you think of getting a raw vegetable and putting it in the juice in the Thermomix, and the pummeling it needs to take to turn into juice compared to a cooked vegetable just getting blended up, is very, very different. So it's what's happening when it's raw. You're actually just destroying the cell walls of all the nutrients when you're doing that. Like, so we do like cold, when it comes to juicing, cold pressed is what we recommend, but smoothies, blending soups, all absolutely fine and highly recommended. It's, it's easier to get soups and sneak things into smoothies and all that kind of thing. So they're all fine.
Yeah. Also, is there ever a time you would not recommend broths, e.g., high histamine reactions?
No, so we don't not recommend them. We just go about them in with awareness around histamines. So yeah, that's something we'll go into. So in week 2,
Yep.
week 2 we do meat stock.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk about histamines then and how to make it all low histamine and that kind of thing. So meat stock's actually highly recommended for histamine issues because they're your key to resolving it.
Super slow, and we'll talk about all of that. Yeah. Is there any more questions anyone has about how it all works, or any burning questions you're dying to ask? Yeah, so we could do a quick look ahead for week 1. You will have a live video with Elise on, what day is it? Wednesday? No, today is Tuesday. Let me have a look. Oh, it is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow at 1 p.m. New South Wales time, Elise will be live and you'll be talking about health goals and stress and
Yep. So we're going to talk about the wheel of life and our approach and actually looking at it's like taking stock of how things are looking right now. So then you can be then really clear on how you want to move forward. So it's like if we do something for work, like a project or a business thing, we always have a plan. It's like with our health, we just clutch at straws and hope for the best. So we're not going to do that. So we'll do that wheel of life. We'll look at your what your health goals actually are, and we talk like really overall lifelong kind of health goals. So you've got a clear picture how life's looking at the moment, and then that's going to give you a really grounded place to then move from, because you'll be really clear on what your starting point is, and it's easier to start when you know where you're starting from.
yeah. I think that was one thing that was probably missing from the beginning of my health journey. I just didn't feel like I had the support or the help, and I was constantly buying books and trying something else, or these days it's going on social media and trying what everybody tells you on Instagram or Facebook that's the new trend. Back then it was books. That was a long time ago. And it was just like, I felt so lost. And when I finally found a naturopath that started to talk to me about gut health and food and what I was putting into my body, I was like, this is what I've been needing help with all this time. And we're trying to help you sort of skip some of that confusion and just get to the root cause and just start working on it little by little, but with purpose. So that's so lost when and that's what we really want to do.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's what we really want to do with you guys in the program, is just help you to focus on what you need help with, so that you're not wasting all that time and energy and stress on trying to figure out which direction to go. So
yeah, and it does end up so overwhelming, because you'll see like completely contradicting things, and it's like, I'm doing this, but then I've got to do this as well, and you can just end up, yeah, so confusing.
yeah. Also, just so you know, if you're watching on YouTube and you can't comment, you can comment in the Telegram chat group. We watch both. while we're doing lives. So you can ask questions in the Telegram chat group or on the YouTube chat. So there's one here by Emma. She says, hello, I've made the mistake in the past of going off immunosuppressant medications very quickly. After making changes to my diet, I went downhill very quickly. What do you recommend in this program?
So if you're on immunosuppressant medication, it's probably best you do chat to a practitioner. So that's something as well that you all have access to. You'll see in that practitioner support section, you can actually go in and book a consult. When there's something a bit more complex going on, that can be really helpful to have access to that. We don't usually do one-off consults in our clinic, so it's only available to people doing the gut health formula. Otherwise, you usually would have to book a package to work with our clinic. So you guys do have that there accessible, which is really helpful. Not everybody will need that, but it's just when things are a little bit more complex, it can help. In this case, with coming off immunosuppressants, that could be helpful, but it can just be that you need to work more on things and wean off, not just come straight off. So yeah, it just really depends on what you're on them for, what's actually going on, and how to make sure that that's being directly addressed properly, and that we're, doing everything to really bring down inflammation properly.
Yeah. Any more questions? I can't see any more, but I might just go and refresh the.
So you'll see in the first section, so I'm just going back to the program so I'm saying the right headings. So in the welcome section, you'll see there is also discount codes to both Joe and my online shops. So if there's anything you want from there that you'll find helpful, you have a discount code you can use whilst you're in the gut health formula. Then there is the program overview, so you do get a bit of an idea of what's coming, but also that course calendar of events. So that can be really helpful. That's just a 2-pager. You can print that out, have that on your fridge, and then you just kind of know what's coming up too. So the live chats, pretty much in there is the live chats and when the modules open. So that can just be helpful, that you've just got all that, when they're going to be. So yeah, that's all in there. And then underneath that is where you'll see that practitioner support section where you can go in and pop in your questions for practitioners. And then there is a link to book an appointment if you want to as well. And then the modules will be released each Monday. So of course we started on a Tuesday today because of the public holiday, but the modules will be released every Monday from now for the next 8 weeks.
Yeah. And soon we'll be off daylight savings. So yay. It won't be so confusing because Lisa's in South Wales and I'm in Queensland. We're always like, oh, what's the time?
Yeah. So this time for me, this time for you. Yeah. So it's nice. We're back on the same time again.
Yay. Okay, we do have, should we buy the books now or wait a bit? Sandra, it's totally up to you if you want to buy cookbooks. There is heaps of recipes in the program. But I know in the chat group, there's often chats where people will refer to a recipe from one of my books. And you're welcome to use the 10% discount code and grab those if you want to, but don't feel pressured because there is a lot of recipes in the program and there's a lot of free recipes on my blog. So just whenever you can, if you want to.
Yeah. And simple healing food is very particularly helpful because every recipe in it is a GAPS recipe. So you can just be making meals out of there and you just don't even have to think about, is this GAPS or is this not? Is this a gut healing meal or is it not? So all the desserts, everything in there all is. So yeah, that just does make it. My clients find that so easy.
That's good. Joanne says, how do you find it goes the high fat content for a person who has no gallbladder? Elise?
Yeah, I love that topic. So we'll talk about that as we get further on. So particularly in the Q&As. But that can also be a good one if you want a nice, clear answer sooner. Pop it in the practitioner question section and we'll give you those actual steps. So that's the easiest way to do that. But I'm really happy to talk about it in the Q&As as well. We wouldn't talk about that stuff for a couple of weeks. So to be the week 3 live Q&A where I'd talk more about that kind of thing with meat stocks and bringing those in. But you're welcome to go pop that in the practitioner question. But absolutely you can. You often do need a bile supplement to help you digest the fat, and you'll need to work on clearing out the liver. So we can give you some first steps of what you can do there. But yes, you'll be able to tolerate fat just fine.
Yeah. Belinda, so with this program, it's not something where you need to jump straight into GAPS. Not everybody in this
No.
program will be doing GAPS. So the focus for this program is whole foods, which we're transitioning to whole foods with plenty of healing foods. And that is based on the principles of GAPS, but not everybody's going to completely do GAPS. So if you're sitting there listening and going, oh my goodness, I'm freaking out now. I can't do GAPS. It's too overwhelming. Don't worry. You don't have to do GAPS. What we're going to do is teach you to add in healing foods. And by the time you get to the end of the program, you've got all these beautiful healing foods in your diet as you bring them in. And we can help you transition to full GAPS if you want help with that. And some people may need to do intro GAPS, but that may be down the track. Generally, I know Elise usually recommends starting slowly and starting with full GAPS. Do you want to mention anything
Yeah,
about that?
and that's the choose your own adventure side of it with this program is that and that any discussion of GAPS, it's really like, as Joe said, what you're wanting to do with it and what you're wanting for your family. So all the foods we recommend, all the recipes in this program, they are GAPS recipes because they are gut healing recipes. That's why we use GAPS recipes. And it just means that the people that do want to do full GAPS, they know they can follow the recipes in here and they will be. So it makes it's a nice, easy transition for them. But for everyone else that might not want to be doing GAPS, but you're able to bring these foods into your current diet and just make your current diet more nourishing and gut healing. So it is totally up to you. We do not talk about GAPS intro in this program. All we do talk about is full GAPS, in that full GAPS is very similar to paleo. Like, it's just a whole food diet that doesn't include grains. Like, that's all it really is. But that doesn't mean you need to cut out grains if that's not in your plan right now. That's fine. It'll just be about the things in this program that you're adding in. And so GAPS intro is something beyond this. So this program would very much be your first. If you think that GAPS intro is something that you want to do with your family, this is your perfect lead into that. That by the time you finish this program, you'd be very ready to start looking at that. Possibly. It just depends on the situation. Yeah.
Jane says, I'm 47 now, heading to perimenopause and upping my weight training type exercises. Would love to hear some tips. Well, we can definitely get Kathy to have a chat about that when she comes in.
Oh, for sure. And I'll talk a bit about weight loss resistance as well. It's something I've been really passionate about over the last 6 months. I'm now working through it a lot with clients. So we call it leptin resistance. So leptin is a hormone that basically, that's what we're talking about when you think your metabolism slowed down. It's actually leptin resistance. So I'll be excited to talk about it a bit in this program and just give you guys some tips of what you can do around that. So we're doing leptin resets a lot with clients in our clinic now and seeing amazing results for people that are like, and often it is perimenopausal women, and it's like, I just can't shift it. I'm trying all the things I would normally do. Nothing's working. And we're seeing amazing results for those women. So it's working well.
For those who don't know, Kathy Carr will be in, I think, week 3. We're going to do a live video with Kathy on movement. She's a movement coach. You can look her up on Instagram, Facebook, online, Kathy Carr, CARR. She is amazing with movement, and is her main demographic is sort of women in midlife, but she does work with all ages. She works with my daughter, who's 26, nearly 27. And I've worked with her as well, and Elise has worked with her, and she is amazing.
How did India get to nearly 27? How did it happen? Oh my God.
I know.
India would have said 23 or 24.
Yeah, July, she's going to be 27.
Wow.
Time flies, hey?
It sure does.
Yeah. Can we get guidance on tweaking recipes for allergies, food aversion, and children? Sure can. We'll be talking about that in the well, we will sort of refer to that all throughout, but there is an actual section where we talk about fussy eating and how to really get kids eating well. But all throughout, we'll talk about ways to get these healing foods into kids' diets who are resistant. So don't worry, that's definitely going to happen. Yvonne says, is thyropause real? I'm menopausal. Is this where leptin resistance fits in?
Is what real? I didn't hear that first part.
Thyropause. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I haven't heard that term actually, but obviously I'm assuming it's to do with thyroid and menopause. Look, anything that pops up around menopause, it's not that menopause causes all of these issues. It's that if you have underlying things going on, that will be accentuated during menopause when your body's going through changes, hormones going through changes. There's a spike in estrogen in the lead up to menopause. And then your liver's got to deal with that. So it's just because it's basically that menopause is a change, and it's meant to be a very it's very, I guess, yes, welcomed in that it's the appropriate change in life when you do get to that age. That I like to talk to clients about the wonderful things that I'm excited about menopause is getting to that point in life where your estrogen levels do decrease and you don't need to mother anymore. So it's actually the change in your body is to take you from that stage of mothering, worrying about everybody else, doing everything for everyone else, to a stage where you just take better care of yourself. And you know, like things like with friends say that are in menopause, like it's like, oh, my care factor has decreased in terms. I'm still the most caring, loving person, but my boundaries are better. It's like, I'm not going to be a doormat for someone. I'm not going to put them before myself. I'm going to make sure I look after myself. So that's what I'm seeing with friends in menopause that I'm excited about, because I'm like, oh, I'm excited to be in the stage of life I am now, mothering, and it's wonderful. But we should be able to look forward to menopause in that it's just that next stage, it's inevitable, and that it has its benefits and beauty in that. And this whole, you just get to have this, different experience in life. That's so you are meant to change. Your body is meant to change. Your hormones are meant to change, but it's not meant to be a sufferance. Like that's not normal. It's common, but that doesn't make it normal. So it's there's underlying other things going on with your health that then make those changes, can cause a lot of havoc in the body. But we can talk more about that.
And when you're dealing with root cause health, the health issues that, you should give your little tree analogy, Elise.
Yeah, so it's like when you're dealing with the root cause, things are much simpler and more straightforward. It's with the tree analogy, it's like the branches, as you get further and further out in the branches, it's more and more complex. That's where all the symptoms are. So it's like, all the symptoms that are coming up, they're all out on the branches, where when you're trying to focus on all of them, there's a million things you can be trying to look at. When we come further and further into root cause, it becomes more and more straightforward, in that the root cause for a lot of those symptoms is actually the same kind of stuff. So that's where we really like to focus, in really resolving that, not out at all the symptoms. My other analogy for that is like, if you've got a sinking boat and it's got holes in it, it's like everywhere you try and patch up, another hole pops out, then you try and patch up, then another hole pops, and you can just feel like all you're doing is this, just hyper managing, like trying to cover up all these holes, when you could just take the boat out of the water, or and fix it.
Yeah.
Like you actually address the root cause rather than just trying to hypermanage.
Yeah, that's good. Can healing my gut help with sleep? Yes. I'm suffering the worst insomnia. Is there a way to increase serotonin in the gut?
Yep. And it won't just be serotonin, probably, melatonin. Tryptophan converts to serotonin and melatonin. So melatonin will be important for the sleep, and possibly GABA as well. So as well, that's when you can jump in the practitioner question section and say, hey, I'm having issues with my sleep. This is blah, blah, blah. This is where I'm at. This is what's happening. This is what I'm trying.
But we're going to give you a lot of lifestyle habit tips that will help with sleep, energy, feeling less overwhelmed.
Yep.
So it's not just about the food and supplements. It's going to be lifestyle.
Yep.
Sandra, is there any suggestions for helping with rosacea? Is that how
Yeah,
you say it?
rosacea is fairly autoimmune. So you're in the right place in that dealing with and addressing gut is what's going to address the autoimmune side of things. So just following the steps at the moment. Just, first week we're going to talk about the meat stocks. Then we're going to start switching up breakfast to make sure that's a really nourishing meal. Then we're going to look at ferments. Just by taking these steps, you will be taking those steps to address autoimmune.
Yeah. So there's a couple of people saying that's a really lovely way to think about menopause, but Yvonne is saying she still has a 9-year-old to care for and 2 other disabled adults. So that is tricky.
It is so tricky. And that's my auntie who's going through menopause at the moment, and she has a teenager. That's what she says. She's like, I can see why, women would have their babies when they're 20, because it's like, then when you go through menopause, you don't have the little people that you pass that. So yes, I totally get that. And I guess that's like it's like kind of a conundrum of more modern day when we are having our children later, that we can then sometimes women are very happily having their children in their 40s, but then of course they're going to have young children when they're going through menopause. So yeah, that is a challenging one. And ultimately I think your hormones are driven by what is actually happening around you as well. So that's like, even when we say when we're around babies and it's like, oh, my ovaries are aching when you're around a baby. Like the fact that you have a 9-year-old child means that, and you're in that position of caring, that's actually going to mean your estrogen levels would be different to a menopausal woman that's not. So that actually, what's going on actually has an impact. It's the same with our partner. Like our partner's testosterone levels influence our estrogen levels. So there is actually, our bodies speak to each other chemically, which is so interesting, isn't it? It's the same way that women who live together end up having their period at the same time. It's because hormonally our bodies actually communicate with each other.
That's so interesting.
So interesting.
But nevertheless, working on your gut health is going to just really reduce those symptoms that you're struggling with.
Yeah.
So
And I know then I was speaking idealistically about menopause. I know so many people are suffering. It's just to know that it's not meant to be that way. It's not just because you're going through menopause. It is because other things are underlying that. Why women can be really struggling in menopause with low estrogen and all the symptoms that can be causing because the estrogen's too low. So I know that it can be very, very challenging, but just to know it's not because it's meant to be that way. It is the underlying things that are going on that's impacting that.
kind of like the period pain discussion. It's not normal to have period pain for days.
Very common. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is fixable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was a couple more there. Let's see. I have high cholesterol. It's very confusing. My cardiologist says statins are on the cards for me. I'm very reluctant. I have no other health issues. Can you help?
Yeah, we can help. So we've got some good information on cholesterol, and basically looking at cholesterol markers in someone who is not overweight, who doesn't have all the other metabolic markers like high blood pressure, high calcium scores, diabetes, all those kinds of things, high inflammation. When we're looking at high cholesterol in that person, it's very different to looking at high cholesterol in the person that has all those markers. That's actually just a totally different situation. So unfortunately, that's not how the medical system looks at it. So if you're healthy, eating well, eating a good diet, your weight's good, you don't have any blood sugar issues, high blood pressure, none of those things going on, and you have high cholesterol, I don't consider it as a risk factor for heart disease. It's the inflammation and all the other factors that then perpetuate then cholesterol to be a risk factor. It's not cholesterol in and of itself, though. There's so much research around this one, but unfortunately, with how much money the pharmaceutical industry makes off statins, it's very difficult for that message to really get out there about cholesterol and truly understanding it properly. But yes, definitely something we can talk more about.
Sarah says, my partner female believes in fasting. I find it suitable and finds it suitable for her body. I don't fast as I don't believe it helps me. What are your thoughts on fasting?
You have to listen to your body. So I find that women generally will do well with fasting post menopause. I don't real I'm very careful with how I recommend it. Thanks, honey. Best man
Oh.
brings me water. Yeah. Um no. So yeah, I find fasting something you do need to be really careful with. For most of the women that I do work with, I don't recommend it because generally there's health issues going on, there's stress, they're in fight or flight, they're nutrient deplete. Fasting's another stress on the system that it's not actually is not actually beneficial if they're not in a position where they can get the benefits from fasting. Fasting's beneficial when you're not in fight or flight, when you're not really stressed, when your body's in a really good place, and you use it to just accentuate health, like to add on top of, not resolve health issues. That's not what fasting's for. So for most people, I'm recommending the opposite. Like I'm wanting them to up their protein, especially first thing in the morning. I want to get them their nervous system out of fight or flight. I'm really focused on that. So if you're feeling like it's not good for your body right now, then it's not. So I definitely suggest following that.
Do you work with cancer patients?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've worked with a number of cancer patients now in all different ways. I've had cancer patients that are not following the Western medical model. I've had cancer patients that are following the Western medical model in terms of getting chemotherapy, radiation, all those kinds of things. So wherever someone's at, very happy to work with them.
Awesome. Well, we should probably finish up for this live, but you'll be able to ask Elise a lot more questions tomorrow at 1 p.m. New South Wales time, right here.
Yeah, that's it. We'll always share the link in the group as well. Like it
Yeah.
is going to always be in the program material. Sometimes it's just easier 5 minutes before we'll pop the link into the
Yeah.
Telegram group. It can be easier than going and looking for things. You can do it on your phone. Just click the link and it's a YouTube video. So it's just going to take you straight to YouTube. So that can just make it really easy just to do that.
Yeah. And yeah, if anyone's came in late and wasn't able to comment on the YouTube video, you just have to be signed into your YouTube account, your Google account, to be able to comment. Otherwise, if you can't be bothered or you can't figure it out, just comment in the Telegram chat group and ask questions there and we'll answer because we watch both.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. We're so excited to have you all on board.
Exciting. So much fun getting started with another. We haven't done this for a while, have we? It's
I
been
know
October.
October last year was our last one. So yeah, it's great.
Good fun. All right. Well, we look forward to getting to know you all. And I'm going to go in and read all those lovely introduction posts in the chat group. Feel free to pop in and introduce yourself if you haven't yet. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can.
Wonderful.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Elise. Bye, everyone.